The Astros made it interesting, but still got by the pesky Rays to face the Yankees in the series everyone's been waiting for since spring training. While in the National League, not many would have predicted a Cards-Nats NLCS at the All-Star break, yet here we are. We'll break down each series, including prices, give you the updated World Series futures, our picks, and more on Prime Sports Baseball with Scotty Z and me for this Friday, the 11th of October, 2019, on the Prime Sports Radio Network. Brought to you by Athlon Sports, the leading publisher of preseason annuals for more than 50 years, sold in 60,000 outlets nationwide, and Covers.com. Make sure to visit Covers Experts at experts.covers.com, and you can take 50% off any purchase by using the promo code PRIME50. That's PRIME50. And, of course, you might want to do that when you put down your year savings on the Washington Nationals to win the World Series.
Is that what you're doing?
No, far from it.
Congratulations, my friend, by the way. I know this is long overdue in your life.
Yes.
As a Cub fan, I got to take the NLCS in 2015 before the Mets ruined my dreams, and then it took one more year for the World Series. So you've gotten over the first big hurdle. May all your dreams come true.
Thank you. Yes, it's one of the. I will say this though, it's one of those things where the Dodgers series was more of if you lose, you weren't expecting to win anyway.
Correct.
This series, it will annoy me if we don't get to the World Series. Not because the Cardinals aren't a great organization, not because they don't have good ball players, winning playoff ball players, champions on their team. It's not that. It's just that I think we're a better team. And I think that destiny has put this team now in a situation where
D word.
What's that?
You said you used the D word.
The D word?
Destiny. You said
destiny, sure. And now a World Series, I don't know, but at least to get there, that would annoy me if we didn't get there.
Well, quickly before we get into baseball, the DC sports world is calling this team the second coming of the Capitals from 2 seasons ago.
Yes.
So I don't know how you feel about that, but the similarities are there, and the comparisons are going crazy. So
that's not a surprise because of the fact they're probably saying when the Caps finally won it, they did it when they weren't the number 1 seed.
Yeah, and they beat Pittsburgh finally to get over the hump. You guys get past the Dodgers finally. There you go.
I get it. Yep. So I can see it, but look, I don't know about.
There's ways to go.
If I would have been not a fan, I'm thinking that when they tied the game in the 8th, I probably would have said, "Oh, that's it. The Dodgers are going to lose this thing. The Nats got it. They've got all the momentum. This is a team of destiny, all that stuff." But I couldn't get myself obviously to do that because one swing of the bat and you lose. So, but once it was over, that's what I felt kind of. You know what? The Dodgers, they kind of. They let this team hang around, and this is what happens with wildcard teams. And this is the difference between winning 106 games, not playing any games under pressure, and playing a team that's been playing pressure games for months.
Yeah. And the Cardinals, I think the Cardinals did you guys a big favor by knocking off the Braves, who, it would have been, I think to me, it would have been harder for you guys to get through the Braves. Than it would have been for the Cardinals. So I think that this is the matchup for you. Aren't
you surprised though that the Nats are the favorite without home field?
It comes down to having the 2 aces, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So and Scherzer, how about Scherzer? Same thing in both starts. First inning, a little rough, settled in. So.
Yeah, and Strasburg doing the same thing, settling in.
Better than Dodgers could say, better than right now the Astros with Verlander can say. Though I think I don't want to jump around from series to series, but these are just thoughts off the top of my head. If these guys take any consideration of the playoffs into who wins these major awards, Garrett Cole just won the Cy Young.
Yeah, right. And I'm not sure. Now, these votes are usually in, though, right? Before the playoffs begin? I believe they are.
But my gosh, I mean, have a playoffs, Garrett Cole. He's just getting started. He's a madman. He's crazy. He has the composure and the ferocity of Scherzer, except for he doesn't show it on his face.
Sure.
He's just calm and collected.
The thing with the Astros though that concerns me, and I'm kind of surprised that they're a minus 180 against the Yankees, is because Verlander showed, even though it was short rest, he did show a little bit of vulnerability. We know Greinke's a freaking fraud for the postseason in a big spot. So one pitcher is not going to win you a series for 7 games. I think this is much more of an even series.
Don't forget that Verlander was fantastic in his first.
I know Verlander's awesome. I'm just saying
it was fantastic.
Minus 180. I couldn't touch that if I'm the Astros. I'm like, no. Why would I touch that when I see there's a little bit of a vulnerable side to this team compared to the Yankees?
And considering the Yankees have also, I mean, now this is one of those things where some people say it's fantastic. Some people say it scares you that the Yankees have had 4 days since their last baseball game.
Oh, I think it's fantastic because they've been cruising all season, so they continue to cruise. You just set up your roster. If they would, I'm fine.
I guarantee you, Aaron Boone has played a simulated game sometime between Wednesday and yesterday. Had to.
I tell you what I would do is if I liked the Astros, but I was a little concerned with the minus 180, I would just take them to win the World Series with even money.
Yeah,
that's what I would do because I don't want to put up, the extra vig there. That would be, especially if you're going up and above $100. Right. If you're going 1,000 or more, then that's a big number all of a sudden in case they lose. So now. Let's first of all break down. We'll break down the National League first. We'll also go over our World Series futures and so forth, and then give our predictions. With St. Louis, when you take a look at their offense, and we know they've got Goldie continues to be the stud of that offense, but generally, even during the regular season, they don't hit very well. It's Ozuna, it's Goldschmidt, and they got a couple other pesky guys. Nobody like Rod Carew. They got a couple of pesky guys that can bat about 280. They got the power guys, Goldie and Ozuna, but that's it. This was something we've talked all year about. They don't have an explosive offense.
No, but welcome to the world of every Cub fan, and enjoy hating Tommy Edman, who is, to me, one of the biggest difference makers in this year's playoffs. The guy, he's Johnny Hustle. They could plug him in at third base. They could plug him in at second. They could plug him in anywhere in the outfield.
So he's the X factor.
To me, he's the X factor because you can, especially in the National League, because with the National League, with pinch hitters and all that good stuff, you could plug him pretty much anywhere. Now, they haven't been playing Harrison Bader very much in this playoffs, so that's been one thing that's been pretty surprising. But the other guy that just keeps getting it done in the playoffs, and a guy who you could never count out, despite him being 36 years old, is Yadi Molina. I mean, you saw he helped win that Game 4. He won the Game 4, basically. He had a huge hit that went off of Freddie Freeman's glove into right field to help tie it, and then he had the sac.
And it's only one of 3 hits in the whole series, but shows you that when he needs to come up with the hit, he will.
Right. Yeah. So and plus you can't. What more can you say about his game behind the plate?
Sure.
So having him behind the plate, and you'll see Adam Wainwright pitch in Game 2 for the Cards tomorrow. So when you have that happening with Yadi, that experience, that battery right there, that has won a World Series.
What do you think was the downfall of the Braves in the series? Because they again, I still think they had a better team than St. Louis. I think to me it was experience.
Aside from the obvious that, look, Fulte had an unbelievable start in Game 2, and then you got the Fulte from the beginning of the season in Game 5. So aside from that, it definitely was to me the experience. I mean, Acuna not running out plays. There was the play where he probably could have had an inside the park home run where he ended up with the Sun triple. They kept on calling it the Sun triple. That was a major play in that baseball game.
What
It's
was
just
up with Atlanta, by the way, allowing St. Louis to plug them, and they don't do anything?
it's the playoffs, and I also don't think that if you watch the replay, Flaherty
Oh,
looked.
come on now. You want to be serious that you think with everything going on that was an accident? Come on. Anyway.
Anyway, what happened was the Cardinals scored 10 runs. They walked the bases loaded, and they walked in 2 runs, threw a wild pitch, made a couple errors, and boom, that's all it took. So the Braves had it in the bag, just like I thought the Astros had it in the bag originally. The Cardinals fought back. The Rays fought back. Got to give the Rays a crap ton of credit. But the Cardinals, they were just more experienced, and they were just ready, and they had just the key plays. That came down to key plays. It came down to good defense. It came down to bad defense.
Well, that's why I think that is something where you're not going to have that with the Nationals. They're not going to beat because the Nats are the oldest team with the most veterans in all of baseball. So you are not going to beat them with experience. And so this is where talent must overcome. And so besides the usual suspects, and look, Edman's a nice player, but it's got to be the pitching. And Carlos Martinez, I mean, please.
He can't, he can't be the guy. He cannot be the guy.
So it's got to be Miller.
Close games out. To me, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Dakota Hudson closing games out.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, he pitched in the eighth.
But then what do you do? Start Waka in one of these games?
I don't know. Look, I don't know.
But he can't close. I agree with you. He can't, but I mean, why not Andrew Miller though? Why wouldn't you go with Miller? Because Miller actually has had a pretty good postseason so far. He hasn't given up a run.
I mean, again, and they kept on saying it throughout the the series that Miller. I mean, they like him in the eighth inning, and sometimes the eighth inning is more important than the ninth inning. When it comes to matchups.
No.
I don't know. It can't be Carlos Martinez. I know that for sure. I mean, the only other guy who is even remotely, to me, close to being ready to do it is Brebbia. I don't know.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's a big deal because Hudson.
Look, Gant crapped the bed. Hicks got hurt.
Yeah.
Carlos Martinez was good during the regular season ish, but I mean, come on. I mean, it can't be him.
No.
With the World Series on the line, it can't be him. Maybe Helsley. They like Helsley. I don't know.
They better just hope they don't have to worry about it. And they're going to have to try to do it against a team that feels comfortable when they're down. The Nationals. Right. That's where they've actually made their hay this season.
That's for sure.
So that should be interesting. Look, I get how good and dangerous this Cardinal team is. Just look, the Nats we've already lost to a lot of these guys too in the postseason.
Oh yeah,
and even Martin for the Dodgers, Freese, the ex-Cardinal for the Dodgers. You were mentioning Molina. There's just these certain guys, Wainwright, these certain key playoff dudes that you just know that, hey, we're more talented than those guys, but it's the postseason and everything changes, and that's what would worry me and does worry me about having to play a team like the Cardinals. But I still think the Nationals are a better team. I do think that when you beat the Dodgers and you've had the type of year that you've had, that should at least get you to the World Series, which is why I would be upset if they didn't pull this out. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's going to be a really good series. I like the matchups for the Nats hitters. And first of all, how much more needs to be said about Howie Kendrick? I mean, this guy doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's not even an everyday starter.
Isn't it crazy how cheap it was to get a guy like Kendrick?
Yeah.
How they undervalue players like Kendrick and Freese.
So undervalued. I mean, and Kendrick's 35 years old too.
Yeah.
Been around. He is 8 for 11 off of the Cardinals game 1 starter. 8 for 11 in his career. So
and Zimmerman is healthy and swinging the bat. as good as I've seen him swing the
Correct.
bat.
Zimmerman he's still a bit of a liability defensively.
He's not. No, he does. That's if he has to throw the ball to home or second base. But as far as the most important thing to play defense, he's Gold Glove caliber. He just can't throw the ball. That's what you want him to do.
And you got to make sure that the young outfielders are, I mean, a couple of times Soto got turned around pretty badly in that first series.
Might have been nerves early on in the series.
Yeah, and I think that that'll be the same thing with this series, but once they settle in, I think the talent lies more in the Nationals, though I still give the experience, the playoff experience, the World Series, big game experience still goes to St. Louis.
Yeah, I think if game 2 could be the game that decides everything no matter what happens game 1. And the reason I say that is because if St. Louis could prove, if Wainwright can go out there and do it again, then that's trouble for the Nats because that just can't continue if you're a Nats fan. You got to be like, wake up. You're not that guy anymore. You had one game. Good. You got it out of your system. Because if he goes out there and pitches like he was 10 years ago, the Nats are in big trouble. So...
Yeah, I mean, you look at Wainwright's numbers, 7 playoff ERA in 96 innings, he struck out 104 in those, only walked 15. I mean, if he does that, if his curveball's biting, you're in trouble. So,
and I also think the confidence level now.
Cardinals made a big mistake, by the way, leaving in Flaherty through 5 innings.
I don't know what that was about. That was weird,
Didn't agree with that. Didn't agree with that, and now he can't pitch till game 3. So
is that what? Yeah, that's right. So that was a little strange, even though that does set him up for game 7.
True.
And we'll find out what the Nats do with Strasburg because Scherzer will pitch in game 2, and you got to feel that.
You feel that Anibal? You think Anibal's got the what it takes?
Oh, I mean, considering all they're going to ask for is another 5 innings from him, but.
Right.
This is where they're going to have to rely on a couple of relief pitchers because Martinez, he will not go back to the whole starting pitcher bullpen stuff. So if Sanchez pitches 5, he's going to, now they did, this kid Elias they got in that deal with Seattle is on the roster, which is good news because he's got good stuff. He was part of the deal. He was the bigger part of the deal. Strickland's off the roster, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I can't believe Hudson's on paternity.
Yeah.
So he's gone at least tonight.
Yeah, well, that Reddick was as well for the Astros. He missed the first 2 games of the Rays series, but he's back too.
Yeah, so Hudson could miss 2 games. It's possible.
Probably. He probably will.
So you're going to have to rely then on a couple of relievers, the Fernando Rodneys of the world, to get you through to Doolittle. And that's going to be scary.
That is scary.
Yeah. So that's something where I think St. Louis is going to have to take advantage of it. This is a game St. Louis needs. They really need this game with Hudson not available, with Sanchez, who probably won't pitch 5 or 6, more than that. You're going to go to the Nats bullpen without Hudson. You have got to win this game if you're St. Louis. You have to, especially after what happened to the Nats compared to St. Louis in the deciding game.
Sure.
A lot more energy exerted from the Nationals and the Cardinals.
Yeah, a lot of low-stress innings for the Cardinals in that game.
All right, Yankees and Astros. So
Whew.
What do you
talk about hitting?
What do you take then out of Houston having to go to the max with Tampa?
A huge win for the Yankees. That's what I said to you before the series started. I said the biggest way for the Yankees to make the World Series was for the Houston series to go to 5. Now, it does set them up for Verlander in Game 6 and Cole in Game 7 because they're going Greinke tomorrow in Game 1, and that's got to scare the living crap out of every Astro fan right now after what they saw in Game 3 against the Rays. That game was the reason the Rays that game is the reason that series went to 5.
Oh yeah.
So that's got to
scare
everything.
Yep.
It absolutely changed everything. So if Greinke can bounce back in Game 1, I think that this series really relies on Games 1 and 3 to determine. If the Astros can win Games 1 and 3, which is Cole. And now the Yankees have not set their pitchers just yet. I would assume.
Tanaka.
Tanaka, Paxton, Severino in that order.
I see no reason why not. I mean, I trust Tanaka more than I trust Paxton in a big spot.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. So either way, what I'm getting at here is if Greinke settles down and gets his win, and then if Garrett Cole stays the machine that he has been in this playoffs, then there's just no chance. There's just no chance.
Yeah, this is Astros have to win game 1.
Yeah, if the Astros win game 1, to me, if game 2 doesn't matter to me as much. If the Yankees can prove they can beat Garrett Cole, that's the only way they're going to beat the series. Is they're going to have to beat Garrett Cole at least once. That's just a fact. You know, you're not going to see him. You're going to see him twice probably, and you're going to have to beat him at least once. That's the key for me for the Yankees to win the series. And I don't just see it. I don't know if I see it happening.
Are the Astros going to go to a 4-man rotation? Or are they going to, or some of these guys going to pitch on, especially after what happened with Verlander?
I think that game 4 for the Astros is probably going to be a bullpen game.
Starting with Miley.
Urquidy, Miley, some combo of those guys. But again, that doesn't matter because they have 4 games of Verlander and Cole.
Well, that's why they have to win game 1.
Right.
They got to win with Greinke. They have to win with Greinke.
If Greinke wins one of his starts, I mean, to me, it's tough.
Yes.
Because the Yankees, again, you can't beat a dead horse more than you're going to have to beat Verlander and Cole a combined 2 times.
I would feel game 1, if it's Tanaka against Greinke, I would definitely put money on the Yankees.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, look, Greinke is better than we're giving him credit for. He had a bad start.
When has he ever come up big?
Well,
10% of the time?
No time like the present.
Yeah, but that's why if you're betting, you're not going to bet and hope somebody does something that they don't normally do. You're
right. And the good news is he gets to start at home. He doesn't get to start at the pop-up factory that is Yankee Stadium.
Oh, yeah. There's no way Greinke's pitching at Yankee Stadium in this series. They
he might have to.
Is it a 2-3-2?
Yeah.
It is 2-3-2.
Yeah. So he's going to have to.
What do you think about 2-3-2? Do you prefer that over 2-2-1-1-1?
I hate 2-2-1-1-1. 2-3-2 is the way to go.
Okay.
Especially more even for the team that has the team that has the home game second. Just getting those 3 in a row at home is huge versus the 1-1-1.
And do you think there should be? I mean, Showalter was on today saying that he thinks that there should be no days off. He's crazy. He's nuts if he thinks that we want to see the number 5 pitchers starting in a playoff game. But do you think that there should be an extra day?
No.
So it should be just 1 day off, go right to it.
The way that they have it set up is the way that it should be.
Okay.
And I think the teams will tell you the same thing too. I'm telling you, again, people will use this. If the Yankees come out tomorrow flat as hell because they haven't played a game in 5 days, you're going to hear that excuse. You're going to. It's just a fact that people will use that as an excuse. I mean, the Astros, like
it sucks to be good.
It took them to last night. They're using today as a regular off day, and that's it. They're ready to go. Right now they're fired up. Now, of course, if the extra day off occurred, you'd say, oh, but now they could throw Verlander game 1 and Cole game 2, But no.
Don't you think it's interesting that in the Rays series already it appeared that Hinch preferred Harris over Osuna, and that he's not going to trust Osuna in a big spot?
He did prefer him. He used him in.
So he's not going to, which is what we talked about. This is a weakness for Houston that they have basically one pitcher in their bullpen that you can rely on.
So that's where the Yankees take the biggest win in this series is they have, first of all, they have the best bullpen of the 4 teams left. Nobody's going to dispute that. It's obvious. So the Yankees, if they don't need their guys to get all the way. They got Ottavino and Canley.
Yeah.
They don't need
5
these
innings. They could do
and
5
Britton.
innings. That's it.
You don't need exactly. If Tanaka gets through 6 innings, again, if Paxton gets through 6 innings, if any of these guys get through 6 innings,
that's a bonus.
With a lead, it's a huge bonus.
Yeah.
Because the Yankees have enough guys. They've got 4 guys, maybe 5 they could throw out there in a row and it'd be not even a factor.
By the way, I think the Astros, the offense, though, as much as we know how great Bregman and Altuve are, the fact is other guys need to start get
Alvarez, I mean, is a machine.
Yeah, but dude. I mean, Brantley, Correa, Springer.
Brantley hit a huge homer last night.
It's 4 for 19.
They got to get Springer going. He had 1 hit in that series. Springer's definitely got to get going, especially if he's going to continue to bat leadoff, which I think he will, because I don't see them changing too much. You got to get Chirinos going a little bit better. But I mean,
they gotta hit better than the way they hit against the Rays. They have to.
They do. We'll 2 road games in Tampa where the 3 home games they hit perfectly fine. The 2 road games they just did nothing. But I mean, look,
which tells you that they're not winning at Yankee Stadium.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. When they go on the road, they get to go to Yankee Stadium, so they get to. I mean,
they can't
get to
lose at home. That's why if they lose Game 1 with Greinke on the mound, they're done.
Well, they're not done.
They're done. They're not winning in New York. It's not happening.
Garrett Cole's going to throw the first game in New York.
They're not winning in New York. Something will happen. Even though that is at least their one having Cole.
That's why I told you game 1 and 3 decide the whole series to me. If somebody takes both of those games, they win the series. If the Astros take one of those games, I think they win the series. If the Yankees take both, the Yankees win the series. It's just that.
All right, let's go to our futures. And again, Houston's even to win the World Series. Yankees are plus 250. Washington is at plus 450, and St. Louis at 5-1. So, as far as our futures,
so you're saying the American League's going to win the World Series?
That's what they're saying, which is no big surprise with the Dodgers gone. So let's look at what we have for our futures. Now, I've got Washington at 4,700 with 1,500 invested. So I'm going to put 1,000 down on the Yankees at plus 250. So if it's a Yankee National World Series, I can't lose money.
Correct.
All right. So what are you going to? That's all I'm doing. Yankees 1,000, done. Well, what are you going to do?
Remind the people what I have. Please.
And you've got Houston. You've got 1,700 on Houston, 1,000 invested. So you don't have to do anything if you don't want to, and you're sitting there with a $700 investment if Houston wins.
I am putting 500 on the Cardinals.
500 St. Louis at 5-1.
Yes.
All right. So that's 2,500.
If I get my Astros Cardinals World Series, which is what I think it's going to be.
Yeah, then you're in the situation where
you're
again, same thing as me. You can't lose money. And the same thing as me is in order for you to make money, you're going to need the long shot to win.
Could happen. You never know.
That's it, though. So that means that you really believe.
At this point, it's got to be one.
See, I'm surprised that you actually believe that St. Louis has a legitimate chance to beat Houston.
I don't, but I like the odds, and they only got to get through one series to get to Houston.
Yeah, but see, if I was you, if I liked Houston as much as you do, then I would just at even money, I'd just keep going on Houston.
Not for me. Even money doesn't do it for me.
Just so you know, if this happens and Houston wins, you're going to make $200
for a whole season's worth of stuff.
That's it. All right, I'm just warning you. That's all.
I've been warned.
Okay. So St. Louis and Houston, and I got Yankees and Washington. That's the way it should be. We've got all 4 teams.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun.
Set up. All right.
That's part of the reason I did it.
So we'll talk next week, and we'll see how it goes. We'll either talk if it's a long series and maybe there's some Game 7s to talk about, something like that.
Oh, I need it. I can't getting 3 Game 5s. Oh, how great was that? How great! I mean, especially look, the Nationals game. That was a great baseball game. And I need at least 1 Game 7. I'd prefer for it to not be the Yankees taking the Astros at 7. I'd prefer for it to be the other series. But I'm fully on board.
I don't want to be in a Game 7, okay? Please.
I'm fully on board with the Astros here. I'm just taking St. Louis because I think they have a shot, and I don't think the Nats do. But
Okay.
Go Astros. The only team that I've got no grudges against in the entire playoffs left.
Scott, appreciate it. Enjoy the baseball. We'll talk to you probably sometime next week.
That sounds great. Enjoy the baseball, everybody. It's going to be a lot of fun.